We continue to work. I wake up every day thinking about this building.
A block of downtown Evansville is set to undergo a major revitalization in the coming months. It's expected to cost more than $60 million, creating office space, retail, and restaurants, apartments, and even a park in the heart of downtown. The refresh of this block has been in the works for years, but officials say they're getting closer each day.
The state of Indiana has announced those tax credits. That's a big part of the funding package for this project. So we've continued to work through and firm up the details of timing on that cash and things like that. So a lot of the behind the scenes work that you don't see as you're walking down the sidewalk.
Next steps for the process includes the implosion of 2 downtown buildings. The Sycamore building will come down first, making room for demolition of the 420 Main Tower, the city's tallest building.
The big question on everyone's mind is, when will this building implode? Candace Chapman of the Economic Improvement District says it'll happen within a matter of seconds, and it'll be on an early morning.
They say that it takes 30 seconds to implode the building and then 3 months to clean up the mess. So that's a rough estimate, and probably not a perfect estimate, but that would put, first of next year for seeing a new building coming out of the ground.
This will also make way for a new park in the middle of downtown. Last month, officials with CenterPoint Energy announced they would donate $1 million to the Evansville Parks Department. The park, which will be located at Northwest 4th Street in Maine, will be called CenterPoint Energy Square.
It's exciting. Not every day an 18-story building comes down and make way for something new and something that the whole community is going to be able to enjoy and appreciate.
Chapman says 3 community meetings will be held prior to the implosion to make sure the public, as well as adjacent property owners, understand the impact the implosion will have. They also want to make sure they know how to keep safe. A demolition date will soon be announced, with the project set to be finished by 2023. Reporting in downtown Evansville, Jill Wilderman, Eyewitness News.
It's the final countdown for 420 Main.
We're excited for the events, but we're also kind of sad to see the building come down.
In less than 10 days, the 420 Main building will be no more. But Josh Armstrong from the downtown Evansville Economic Improvement District says people should steer clear of the area during the implosion.
It's going to be a lot better to watch it from home. The views will be better. Really, there won't be a lot of great places to watch it from outside the exclusion zone.
Starting at 5 a.m. on the 21st, Armstrong says a 9-block area around 420 Main will be closed off to pedestrian and vehicular traffic.
If you're downtown on Saturday night and Uber home in the morning, please make sure you come and get your car pretty early and get it off the out of the exclusion zone.
While Armstrong says dust will not be a major factor.
I think we've all seen these videos on YouTube. It's pretty surprising how little dust there is and how little damage there is to neighboring buildings. They seem to just kind of go down.
A letter sent to local businesses warns them of heavy dust in the block immediately around the exclusion site. Still, some businesses say they're planning on opening on the 21st after the implosion.
We're preparing to what we'll do the day before. We'll obviously secure some of our inventory, but other than that, we still plan to open on Sunday, the day of the implosion.
We are in the final countdown for 420 Main. This afternoon, contractors joined the Evansville Police Department to discuss their plans ahead of the implosion Sunday morning. Barring high winds knocking down protective barriers or severe weather, demolition expert Mark Loazzo says the implosion should go on as planned around 7 Sunday morning. Loazzo says the weather, especially some rain, could actually help them clean up the dust from the implosion.
I'm going to use a big word, flocculate. The high humidity causes the dust to flocculate, precipitate out of the air quickly. It keeps it to a smaller area that lets Renaissance clean it up more quickly. So that's another reason why we have an exclusion zone, to keep people back so that following the implosion, Renaissance can get their personnel, get their equipment in, clean up the dust, and let the community at large return to normal as quickly as possible.
Along with the Evansville Police Department, the contractors are asking anyone interested in seeing the implosion to stay home or avoid the area around 420 Main. Eyewitness News will have live coverage starting at around 6:45 Sunday morning, both on air and online at tristatehomepage.com. Reporting in downtown Evansville, Ryan Wittry, Eyewitness News.
To describe the ambiance of what this building was 51 years ago, think of this. The Lloyd Expressway was not here. It was Division Street. The old L&N Depot was still standing over off of Fulton as it goes into Riverside Drive. There was the Executive Inn, a city within a city, that was still standing. So it is really a situation where we are seeing a piece of history slowly disappear. It'll take place in a few minutes. And the timeline of what you're going to be seeing right now, let's just show you what it will take to bring this down. At about 6:57, they're going to do basically a 3-minute warning, then to a 2-minute warning, and then there will be the final countdown for the tower to come down. I'm told it'll be take about 26 seconds. And so a big question right now is, we got an advisory last night that the dust cloud, wouldn't you know it, the prevailing winds are coming toward us from the back. So we may be involved in a bit of a dust cloud, but it has been raining this morning. I want to get to, if we can, Chief Meteorologist Wayne Hart, who is watching the implosion high atop the Hilliard Lions building, not far from here. Wayne, can you hear me right now?
I can, Brad, and I am up here on the 7th floor of the Hilliard Lions building. Got a perfect view of what is going to be history here in about 10 minutes.
And you know, we often talk about wind gusts. There really are no wind gusts here, but it's just enough of a breeze that will impact the dust. But the rain is a good thing. Tell me about the dynamics of that.
Well, there is some light rain out there, and that is a good thing because that basically will help settle the dust. And that's what we want to minimize as much as possible, because there's going to be a lot of dust and debris coming down, and at least the finer particles will help, the rain will help settle those, as opposed to allowing them to disperse horizontally. Rain comes down vertically, and so that's going to help settle the dust. And it's not a heavy rain, as you know, out there, but as we check the radar and the current conditions, the winds are light. They're out in the southeast around 5 miles per hour. So it's no weather issues at all. Matter of fact, this is probably pretty ideal conditions in terms of what they would hope for. I think rain's a good thing. They were only concern would have been severe weather, and that's certainly not in the cards this morning. So we're fine in terms of that. So the light rain is going to be helpful with the dust, and just a light southeast wind, and that's good because you don't want to be blowing that dust either in any particular direction. So I think weather conditions are pretty good, Brad.
Okay, and Wayne, thank you so much. You've got an ideal view. We have an ideal view here, and we have a drone up today. And the opening shot, I believe, was from, ironically, the Fifth Third tower cam for Eyewitness News, showing the upper part of the sleeping giant, the former Old National Bank building this morning as the sun was coming up. And we did have sunrise today at approximately 6:42. So we are getting a good view now. Wayne, thank you so much. We will be in touch. And I'm looking up at the flag of the old Vanderburgh County Courthouse now, and it does show the wind blowing in from the southeast, but something else is going to be happening. This week I talked to Mark Loazzo, who is the president and owner of CDI, the implosion part of this, the firm that has done so many implosions throughout the country, highly respected firm worldwide. They brought everything down from the Market Square Arena in Indianapolis to the Kingdome in Seattle, the largest square footage and cubic footage building that has ever been imploded. Mark comes from a family that started this in 1947. The implosion business. I talked to him about, though, one of the things unique here in Evansville. I'm looking up now, it's going on about 6:55, and the bells of 7 o'clock will be tolling for this building. I asked him about that just yesterday. Let's listen.
I think it's an interesting analogy because That courthouse has been here a long time. It was here, I'm sure, and watched that building go up, and it's still going to be here and watch that building come down. So it's an apt analogy that the bells will toll for the structure as this part of Evansville is renovated and for the people, good people.
And I know there's a lot of sentimental feelings about this building, but as the mayor indicated, and several people I've talked to, the interior of the 420 Main building had been, well, brutally honest, had been horribly neglected over the last 20 years. Shortly after Old National moved out and opened its brand new headquarters on the riverfront in the early 2000s. The former Old National Bank Tower basically sat there. It did have some tenants. It never really had activity on the main floor. And in many ways, it was sad to see it slowly age. I looked up at it a few years ago when my wife and I were at dinner downtown here, and I could see the oxidation on the windows that had taken a toll on the building. But it was ironic. Chief photographer John Simpson and I were just here a couple of days ago just doing a recon there at 5th and Main. We were able to look up, and it must have been the lighting or where the sun hit that building. It looked practically brand new, but on the other side, a totally different story. You'll notice that there are some areas that have already been carved out. Mark had told me that the primary thing that would bring this building down is not the explosives, about 380 pounds of explosives, bringing down 18,000 tons. But he said it was a simple nature dynamic called gravity, and that's what will bring this building down now in just about, I'm looking in just about 3 minutes. And it's going to be interesting to see if they let those bells toll and then push the button. There have been literally hundreds of people involved in this. There is the warning siren right now. That is approaching 6:57, I believe. We've got 3 minutes to go, and it will sound again. And again, I believe the public has really cooperated and staying out of this area. There are a few people here. Many of them, I talked to a family here, basically from Indianapolis. Another warning, and it's right now 6:57. That alarm is being sounded, so we are getting very, very close right now. And I'm just looking up at this grand old Vanderburgh County Courthouse, and I noted on Facebook this morning, it's almost like it's an old sentry looking to the southeast at the tower. And to think that was built in 1888, opened in 1890, and it is still standing, and it has seen so much change in downtown Evansville, and it is going strong. We have now 2 minutes before the implosion. Now, I'll be backing out of this shot, obviously, when the building comes down. What you're going to hear to prepare you will be almost like shotguns going off repetitively inside that building. There's the 2-minute warning. There we go. I'm going to start moving out right now, but you will hear several bangs inside that building, and there will be a pause, and you'll think, well, what's happening? Then the implosion begins, and you will see it come down. It will ever so slightly list toward us, just barely visibly, as it begins to give way and coming straight down. Many of the buildings downtown here have been covered by tarps. The Licks Ice Cream Shop building, I can see it from here, right across the street. It's covered. Several buildings on Main Street are covered. They're going to try to have everything reopened down here with the exception of 5th and Main. We're hearing a countdown right now. Here we go.
2, 1.
And the bells are sounding 7 o'clock. Let's offer a moment of silence right now. It's gone. Dust cloud slowly coming toward us right now. I'm going to go ahead and mask up. People now turning away because we can feel that dust coming in. My heavens, the technology they use now to bring buildings down, that I was told by Mark Loazzo that it would probably take 26 seconds, he was that precise, to bring it down. And as you can see, people are now turned away. I'm turning my back from it because it's not only it's not necessarily the sound, but that dust is coming in. And we are obviously in the dust cloud, and I cannot even see the old Vanderburgh County Courthouse now. I'm standing about 5 feet from John Simpson, and we can smell some of that coming in. We have our N95 masks on. And right now I've got 7:01. The first thing that I saw go down was the parking garage toward the riverfront, and then the tower did list a little bit, and it came straight down. A lot of smoke in the area. And I often think of the many of them definitely, I'm stepping back into the shot right now. Many of them who worked so many years. It was announced in 1967 that the tower would be built. Old National had its older building just to the southwest of the tower. And they built the tower, and it was opened in 1970. Then they tore the Old National Bank building down, about I believe a 5-story building on Main, and that's when they completed the parking garage. And it was smack dab in the center of the building. And I'm looking right now at a piece. This looks like insulation, John. This is insulation from the building that just imploded. I'm going to keep this if I can. And I'm still on the air. I just heard my IFB go off, so please let me know. So, but it has definitely, it's come down. But how do you talk about something like this? And when this all clears out, if you Google image any photo of downtown Evansville, just go to your computer, hit Google. I'm back connected right now. It's 7:03. If you look at any picture on Google Image, the former Old National Bank Tower is right there. In fact, I've often told our chief meteorologist, Wayne Hart, we may have to redo the skyline shot. Okay, we do have a drone shot right now of the debris. I do not have a monitor to see that, but that drone is well outside. We are respecting the exclusion zone request. There are drones all over this building from the contractors. I'm talking about Renaissance, Barton Mallow, and also CDI. This will undoubtedly show up on YouTube after this is over. And the rain is starting to come down again, and that is a good thing. And I'm looking behind me right now. It's gone. I know I'm speaking the obvious, but that is what it really hits home now. And before this was brought down, the old Sycamore building, which was catty corner in the same block from the 420 Main building, it was demolished. It was a much shorter building, about a 9-story building. Ironically, it was home to Citizens National Bank for many years when Old National came in. So the two largest banks in the city, Citizens, of course, now is Fifth Third, actually occupied that block back there.
Wow.
And I see the Hilliard Lyons building. And this is a major, major opening here. This is what's really, when all this clears up, you'll see what we're talking about. The skyline has definitely changed. Now, Mayor Winneke had talked about the new development that is going to be coming in, and it may take up to 18 months. They first have to clear all this out, of course, prepare it. It will be it's a planned, from Domo Development, a planned multi-use complex, a 6-story building and a 4-story building with retail, commercial, retail, apartments, office space, and there will be green space in that block. But the buildings will be 6 and 4 stories tall. Right now, after this is over, the Fifth Third Bank building is now the tallest in the tri-state. It was not as tall as the Old National Bank Tower, former Old National Bank Tower. But you know what really strikes me is what I'm looking at right now, and that's the dome of the Vanderburgh County Courthouse, which stands about 220 feet tall. I've been up there before in that dome, and we are so lucky that many of our buildings are still preserved here in the tri-state. We've lost a few, the Vin Dome, the L&N Depot, the inevitability of time. And this building that just went down, what is tough for a lot of people, we know the future has a lot in store for us, but when I first started here, it was a brand new building, and I was able to cover a lot of events in that building, and it's gone now. But the future holds a lot in store for us. They are going to try to get this area cleaned up for vehicular traffic, with the exception of Main Street and Fifth, right next to what once was the Old National Bank Tower. Thank you so much for joining us. Complete coverage coming up online and on air on ABC 25 and on CW7 and Tri-State homepage. Thank you so much. I'm Brad Bird reporting. Have a good Sunday.